How about now? Can you hear me now? There is supposed to be music. Um, can you hear that?
Check the mic and make sure
Awesome.
it sound right, boys.
Thank you. You're the best. Awesome. Hey, Ryan. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Sound right, boy.
It sound right, boys.
So, how would you raise $1 million from your readers? Let's go. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Zen here with ClosedWon. Welcome to the ClosedWon Sales Show. This is a channel where we cover basic sales tips and interview amazing founders who are putting in the work to build their successful businesses. Every week, we will reshare sales strategies for you to test and apply so that you can close more deals. Also, this week, David Smooke is back. He's going to complete sharing his strategies on how he raised $1 million from his readers. So sit back, relax, and open your mind. Let's get ready to learn a path made for bosses. But real quick, let's say hello to our audience. Yo, what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, like, and feel free to ask us any questions. All right. Now, on to sales tip number 1. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, resharing from the Real Sales Talk, Katie Lands, please tell us a tip that you can share with first-time founders, aspiring entrepreneurs who need.
Yeah, there's a lot of overwhelm with social media. I think especially in 2017, there are more options than ever before, right? I mean, it's not just Instagram, but now it's Instagram Live and Instagram Stories and the Instagram newsfeed and Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and Periscope. And there's, a gazillion choices. And so, for me, one of the things I talk about is, number one, where are your clients at? So if you're in real estate or if you're a small business owner or entrepreneur, where are they already hanging out, right? If it's Facebook, chat. And then secondly, where do you like to be, right? I think sometimes we assume, oh, my clients are on Snapchat. They're definitely not on Twitter. We just sort of make these assumptions because maybe we're not there. And so that's one of the things I kind of talk about especially in the beginning of the book is trying out, just putting your feet in the water, trying out Google Hangouts or YouTube or, Pinterest and seeing does that resonate with you, right? Is that a place that you enjoy being, that you enjoy kind of hanging out? And that's kind of first and foremost and you have to kind of go through that muck of just trying out these different platforms to figure out what's the best place for you, right? And then the other part of it, I would say, is it's not just enough to have a social media strategy. It's not just enough to say, well, okay, should I be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever? But really it's about taking a step back and going, what do I want to achieve? Like why, right? Is it to get more business or brand recognition or lead generation or more sales or all of the above? And then how do you create a content strategy? Because once you've created a content strategy, as you guys are doing, I mean, what you're doing right now is brilliant because you're creating really valuable content, right? That and you're coming from a place of abundance, not fear, not scarcity. And this is a lot of what I talk about in the book is how do you create that content strategy that really resonates with people, that transcends into a solid social media strategy.
There you have it. If you want to hear more, please subscribe to realsalestalk.live. Very, very good podcast, great content. If you are just starting out, you have to try these avenues. You have to get your feet wet. And so sign up to all the social media channels, actually one at a time, and then come up with a strategy on content and figure out what you want to produce and also why. Also keep in mind your audience. Who exactly are you going to target? So if it's real estate, if you're trying to buy houses, sell houses, then most certainly check out other profiles and try to take a page off of their book. That's the best way to learn is by looking at what has worked in the past. So let's go and check out sales tip number 2 from Real Sales Talk. This one's from John Barrows. What do you do with cold calling? So once you have your social media profile and you're getting some inbound leads, you're getting some folks who might want to talk to you, go ahead and give them a call. But when you give them a call or you reach out to them, this is what you need to do. So John Barrows, take it away.
And if you're not, I think the 2 things that need to be in place whenever you reach out to anybody, and I don't care whether this is an existing account, a new account, an inbound lead or an outbound lead, you have to have a reason for your call, and you have to add value in some way, shape, or form. Because if you're not adding value, the most valuable asset any of us have is time. So it's the one thing we can't get back. And so if you want my time, it's got to be pretty damn obvious that by that voicemail or that email that I'm going to get value out of calling you back. Because if not, don't bother. And that's why, tips, nuggets, I'm a big fan of, instead of saying touching base and checking in. So instead of just railing on stuff that people do bad, a thing that I've used to replace that and train on is just start literally every conversation off with the reason for my call is.
Amazing. I really like that. The reason for my call. You could even apply that to emails. The reason for my email is, instead of just saying, hey, checking in, how are you, following up. These are all filler words. And so just say the reason for my follow-up or to connect with you, to show you a tailored demonstration, to learn more about your business, and so on and so on. The reason for my call, the reason why I'm reaching out. Awesome tip by John Barrows. Thank you so much for that. My next guest, David Smooke. This is part 2 of our conversation. Last week, he dropped a lot of good wisdom on how he raised $1 million. Real quick, let me show you his page on Start Engine, and let's try to dissect his page together. And then let me go ahead and jump into the interview itself. But let's take a look at that. So give me 1 second and now let me set it up. Okay, let's take a look at what David has done with Start Engine. So let us search for, let's see, maybe the fastest way is to go into Start Engine. So if you want to crowdfund and you can't raise funding from VCs, or you can't raise any funding from friends, family, angels, this is a great way for you to raise funding, which is from your community. And so Hacker Noon, search, there it is. So this is David Smooke's company. The first tip that he gave us last week is having a great headline, a great title. He actually audited our title, and he told me that instead of using how to crowdfund and raise $1 million, a better headline would be how to raise $1 million from your readers. How about that? So let's take a look at what he's done here. So he's gotten 1,000 investors. That's from friends, family, community, readers. And then he hit his stretch goal. He was trying to raise $10,000 and he actually closed $1 million. And so I love this. So let's take a look at his title, How Hackers Start Their Afternoon. Who isn't a hacker? I feel like everyone says they're a hacker, they're a growth hacker. So the first thing he does is, of course, he provides his introduction. He has a great meme of a cat. Who doesn't love cats? Already, this is quite engaging. He has 7,000 writers, 200,000 daily visitors, 8 million monthly page views. So right away, he hits us with the facts. And that is what we need to provide to get credibility, because you're trying to raise money from your friends and family. You better tell them the facts on why they should sign up, that you have a community. Let's see what else he says. He's put more social validation here from Twitter. The TechCrunch founder has tweeted him. And then we also have a Wired, I think she is a publisher. Let's take a look at the story. So another tip, make sure you tell your story. He talks about how he began, how they've begun to grow, what kind of companies he's working with. He takes a picture of his logo salad right there, all the people that's already backing him up. So a lot of social proof. He even talks about his positioning on ads and why his sponsors are so much better than the normal advertising out there. It's because it's very targeted and he has great relationships with them. And then more social proof from VC firms. This is a great way to raise funding. If a VC is investing in you with your crowdfund, hey, most of the VCs are going to check this out and also probably back him up. They're going to be talking to each other, right? So let's continue. What else did he add? More data. So you got to show the facts. Show your traffic. So this is a screenshot from, I'm pretty sure, Google Analytics. Make sure you show the analytics. And then he talks about how he's different, how they're similar, how sites compete. He talks about his demographic, the number of visits, and look at that. His total visits is actually comparable to TechCrunch, VentureBeat. I mean, these are the companies that we read on a daily basis. These are the publishing companies that we reshare articles from these publishing companies. He even shares his engagement. So this is pretty interesting because engagement, it's not just vanity metric. Engagement is when people literally jump into your platform. If they bounce, that's kind of bad, right? So he has the lowest bounce out rate. A bounce out rate basically means when someone jumps on your page and they click the back button. It means they're not interested. So from his competitors, he has the lowest engagement rates. So that's quite powerful. He even talks about the unique visitors. And of course, as you can see here, he's somewhere in the middle, but if you compare it to TechCrunch, it looks like he has second to the highest monthly visitors. So pretty awesome. He goes on with more facts on how things are distributed. So also another powerful image here. And then the revenue streams on how he's going to make money. Like, if you invest in us, this is how we're going to make money. And then he talks more about the different use cases. This is great. And then his vision for the future. I absolutely love it. I can't believe I missed this. And then there's the humanization of David Smooke. He's showing his wife and himself working hard at it, that they're hacking at growth funding, and he shares his message. I really love this page. I think this is one of the best pages on Start Engine. If you decide you want to raise, not from VCs, not from investors, not from angel funding, but from your community, check out this page. I will put this in the link, and just read everything, consume everything, and just check out his strategy on how he just provides so much validation from the different types of readers that are involved with Hacker Noon. I think it's such a powerful, powerful page. So if you like that, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. We're going to share more strategies from different startups on how they build a successful business. And let's continue to David Smooke's interview. Let's do it. He is the founder and CEO of Hacker Noon, which powers 25 million plus minutes of reading per month. Before Hacker News, he started a marketing agency called ArtMaps, and soon he married his lovely wife and COO, Linh Dao Smooke. Together, they both ran a wildly successful crowdfunding campaign, which closed $1 million. Today, David leads 7 full-time software developers, editors, and sales reps. He serves 10,000 plus published writers and 4 million plus readers every single month. But every morning, he begins his day reviewing the best Hacker Noon story submissions from all around the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 2 weeks, we will learn how to crowdfund from the man himself and learn how to raise $1 million. Please help me welcome David Smooke. All right, so top 3 failures, and what lessons did you learn from these failures? Crowdfunding related.
Crowdfunding failures. So there was one thing we learned is just the high fees around it. So basically at the time, it wasn't an ICO, so you couldn't, to invest a cryptocurrency, you basically had to go through an escrow fund, and they took a cut of it, and then it came in. So there was, because we have lots of stories published on cryptocurrencies, so a lot of people wanted to invest in Ethereum and Bitcoin and did, but it had to go through an escrow, and then we had to pay a fee. Then there's the platform fees. I guess also just the balance of, I couldn't have done it without Ling, my wife and partner, but the balance between continuing to grow the business and deal with this campaign. Because it's just like, you see money come in, it feels great, but it's like that money is to be spent on growing this business, and you have to also do that. So it's generally not a good idea to just be doing both at the same time. You basically have to as a founder if you want to bring on outside capital. But if you can get it into a smaller window, because it just took a lot of time to prepare the campaign. It took time to do the campaign. Then it's meeting with people, messaging people that are thinking about larger amounts. And so you're kind of, it's just a lot of time. It's like, if you have to get 12,000 customers, how long would that take you? So that's the level of work of getting 12,000 shareholders, or in our case it was 1,200, excuse me. But there are other people have done some campaigns with more. So I guess that learnings. I guess just the time commitment, the fees. I would probably say is another one, of budgeting that in and understanding what that means and planning your budget around it. The other learning, is just to continue to speak to them. So I do a 3-page quarterly newsletter, or quarterly report. So get that commitment doesn't seem like a lot, but if it's 2 years ago now, every 3 months you're writing 8 long letters. I now have 25 pages of the history of this company that anyone who's a shareholder has, as well, which is kind of fun. But what they've become is a more of a challenge for me than the people. I can now give you the key information very quickly. I know how to do that, but to make the letter as good as what I hope my business is or could be, I end up spending 80% of the time on the last 10%, which is not a good use of time. But it's this letter is it means something to me. I want to summarize how this quarter was, how this season was. Right. So I guess going in, I wouldn't think I would take that as seriously as I have, but because it's yeah, I mean, writing a 3-page letter is you have to block off time. You have to make sure you do it and you prioritize it. So.
And
Those
to
are probably
recap,
my-
that's for the shareholders, kind of like boards meeting, but it's a report that you give out to all of the shareholders, all 1,200 of them,
Mhm.
every
Yeah.
3 months.
Yep.
Okay. So, what is the top 3 things to avoid when you are crowdfunding?
I mean, it worked for us because we already have a community and we have traffic. So if you don't know how people are going to get to the crowdfunding page, you probably should look at other routes of funding. Because if what you have is a great idea and you need money to prove the idea, that may be better to have, maybe not, you have to convince a lot of people that,
Yeah.
so as opposed to saying, hey, a couple 100,000 people are already here every day, I'm sure a couple of them would like to own a piece of the site. So that was kind of my logic. And I mean, you'll see it with other startups where they say build a community first and then worry about bringing the product. Like if you're going to make a new marketing software, make a marketing group and grow all these marketers, respond to all of them, give them little pieces of advice, and then, come in later with your software and say, hey, if you want, I have a software too that I build around all of your ideas. So there's like good ways to grow. There's good reason to have communities first. Because ideally you don't need funding at all and your business makes the funding. So there's always these trade-offs. I don't know. I mean, it all depends on what situation you're in. I don't know if there's it's just with crowdfunding specifically, the key word is the first word. It's crowd. Do you have a crowd? No. Then if the funding part's not going to work.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, we threw a Kickstarter event a long time ago, and it was just our friends basically that supported us. And so you're
I think I got a
absolutely
dream
right.
journal. Or it was a poem. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Oh my god. Yeah, and oh my god. So much history. Okay, so the other thing is actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Yelp.com, when I first started there, they had to build a crowd because who's going to write all the reviews? Nobody wrote reviews. That's a new behavior. People were still going on Yellow Pages to figure out where they're going to go. And so they had to put together this community called elites. And those elites would throw parties at a business, and then they would all write a review. All those elites, they're not salespeople, okay? So I just want to clarify the community of folks writing reviews for SMBs, small, medium businesses, or brick and mortar stores. So I want to get into this deal closing phase because you said you have 1,200 readers that invested in crowdfunding. What do you think you did right to make them purchase essentially a share of Hacker Noon? Like, how can someone else trying to put together crowdfunding copy what you did or try to follow your guiding principles? That's what I'm trying to learn.
Well, I mean, we spent a while on the page itself. So, and, I'm have grown up more text-based, so like, hey, the traditional way of raising funds, you have your pitch deck, you're talking while they see 12 images, 8 big numbers, and a picture of the team, and that's kind of like this is, what is this version of that, it's more, there is imagery, but it's text. So, I mean, it's describing, what is and what will be. So it's kind of like, hey, I can give you very clean numbers. I can show you all the great stories we published. I can show you other sites talking about our stories. I can show you how excited some of these contributors are and our customers are. And so you can summarize what is, and then we had, as a media, more public facing company, the traction stuff is easier. So with someone that's selling shoes, it could be harder. But we have, plenty of people talking about us that we have all these social proofs, and then what could be, and why would this business be bigger if we ran our own publishing software and if we made all the choices about how the software works to publish. So that's, we showed them all of our assets too. And it's like, hey, we built these 50 other sites, that's just stuff we experiment with and we like doing that. So, and then we had some of the team, we had me and Ling, and then we were bringing on people and we talked about who those people were. And that, like, I think we've had good people work on this project all around, part-time, full-time. So yeah, I think if you have a lot of social proof, it's very helpful. And if you do, I mean, for us, it was pretty clear. You didn't employ software developers before. I'm raising this money to employ software developers. Like, that's kind of like, okay, we kind of get it. So I think as you keep it like simpler, like if what is and what could be are very simple and they can comprehend it, and then all the details are just affirming the simple like conclusion they have, I think that makes a good crowdfunding page, because it's about hitting the button, it's about going, and then there's also like the drop off. You can see how many people hit the button, decide to invest, and then they have to go through information of some kind, and then they drop off, and it's like, yeah, that's part of the funnel. That's part of the flow here. There's different steps. But I mean, a lot of people did, invest with a credit card, and like, hey, $100, $200, yeah,
No way.
buy some shares with the credit
So
card.
bad, but that's awesome for you. You know what I mean? It's like investing in stocks with your credit card or cryptos with your credit card. I don't recommend it, but if folks are that fanatic about your brand, they want a share of your company and they're going to use a credit card, that is amazing crowd community building. It really boils down to building an army of evangelists. That's what you have. That's what you've built.
Yeah, and there is like the writer-editor relationship is special, and as we employ more editors, you kind of see it too, but it's just like they know someone else is on the other side of the screen. They see the changes you make to your work, and then they see their work be featured in more places. And so these contributing writers did have a lot of advocacy. They didn't want this service to die. They want this site to continue to be part of how they write online. So yeah, having those, 1,000 true fans, 100 true fans, whatever the current trending article is of the time, but having people that like do just want to be a part of this every day, they go a long way. They're multipliers. They bring in readers, they bring in writers, they bring in positive vibes. They just go a long way.
Yeah, definitely. So my next question is, before I do this, actually, I'm going to play a sales tip clip, and then I'll ask you one of my final questions of this topic. And before we do that, actually, where can our viewers find you?
Hackernoon.com is my site. That's the best place to read. I'm David on the site. And then on Twitter, I'm David Smooke. That's like smoke with 2 O's. And I have a personal site, davidsmooke.net, not davidsmooke.com, because that's a famous composer.
Yeah, I saw that. davidsmooke.net. Got it.
Like internet.
Sales.
I spent 17 years getting a formal education. Competition's good. Competition's healthy. For who? Imagine if you were the only marketing company in the world. Is that better than having millions of marketing companies? Exactly. I want to own the sector. I want somebody, when somebody thinks about sales training, I want them to equate Grant Cardone. And whatever I have to spend to get there, I'll spend to get there. I want to own the sector completely. I don't want to compete in it. So one way you could own a sector is by tweeting, okay? If you're not tweeting or Facebooking or YouTubing, okay, or using LinkedIn, if you aren't using these free mediums to communicate to the world, you're not in the game, man. You're not in the game, okay? Now, this morning, if you look at my Twitter account today, because this is more than just about selling and closing a transaction. If I don't have anybody to pay attention to me, I can't sell or close. Would you agree? Look, there's nobody here, man. Hey, man, I'm a good salesman. I can shut you down right now. Who am I talking to? Myself? I need people. Obscurity is the biggest problem your business has. There is no bigger problem than obscurity. It's not money, it's not financing, it's not price, it's not value, it's not package. It is one thing, obscurity. All those media programs that you saw me on this morning, they all tell you that there's not enough money, the banks aren't loaning, consumers don't have confidence, people aren't healthy, the economy's in trouble. Dude, none of those are the problem. The problem is nobody knows you. I don't know you, man. I don't know you. Who are you? Right? Price doesn't matter at this point.
All right. So, how does David Smooke close deals?
That's a good question. I mean, so we do have a full-time salesperson now, so it's enough that like I'm not fully the leader on all these large deals now. To understand what we are, I mean, we don't do any Google ads, and we sell directly to technology companies as our model. So we've built our own customer base in that little. If you visit any page on Hacker Noon, there's a 15 tall pixel banner that we yellow that has an ad, and we sell that directly to companies, and that's about half our revenue. And so that's something we just sell it to the highest bidder, and people buy it and reserve times. And so that's kind of like, hey, site-wide takeover. The goal was as few pixels as possible, but as many clicks. And hey, how do we take up less space, but it's in a very premium location? And it's no creepy surveillance ad tech. Like we're not surfacing that ad based on a bidding system from where you are on the internet. We're doing it based on who pays us the most to be in front of this whole audience and be on every page. And then we have what we call the Brand as Author program, and so that's publishing all the corporate blog posts and press releases of tech companies. And then in the author field, instead of saying, Jennifer, it says Salesforce or Heroku, because this content was commissioned, by that company. So people are taking their corporate blog posts, and then when they're the author, they get what I call like accreditation as advertisement. So their social links, their call to action, they can link to anywhere on the web to drive traffic to their newsletter or ebook or whatever. So, and that's an entry level where we give away one for free, and then they're about $200 a post, and more if you buy, cheaper if you buy more, obviously. So we kind of have this ground up system where anyone can come into Hacker Noon, get a nice post about their brand published, and then that is our customer base of who we talk to about larger deals. So we're trying to we never want outreach to be, you've never heard of us before. You're talking to us because you want to be on Hacker Noon. If anyone's on a call about sponsorship, we've already started there. So that's kind of been, it took us a while to get there, but it's so much better spot to be in. Like our second largest customer this year, it was just because the CEO reads the site and likes it, and he's forwarding it to his marketing people to say, go find them, like go talk to them. And so those are like, much better conversations than like all these SDR cold emails out to everyone else. So that's what we kind of go for. And then we've settled also on a group in between that we call niche marketing. So basically we have a tag system that runs our site. So every story has 8 tags. And then based on that tag, we'll serve a relevant ad. So like if you're reading about like Ethereum, we could have, hey, here's a new open source protocol. And then that ad surfaces at the end of the story. Or people who read, our Ethereum emails. So there's, that's kind of the 3 that we settled on. And I mean, the bigger ones, like we have many decks, kind of floating around, and then we'll customize decks a bit for, larger clients and package those 3 things together in a way that like fits with their goals. Because really, when you talk to like sponsors, it's really like the balance between awareness and conversion. And some people, it's just like, hey, it's about getting more traffic to my site. I measure how it converts. If it converts well, I buy twice as much. And it's just very simple. And other people are more like, hey, how has no one heard of us? Like, we're doing all this cool stuff and we're making all this money. Like, how has no one heard of us? And then they just really want as many of our, eyeballs as possible. So I think it's a nice spot to be in. Like we're at, we published like 300-400 brands now. So there's a nice base there of people that have trusted us with their story. And then I'm really not doing a ton of sales calls now. I mean, I'm kind of doing a lot of my job. So I still edit probably like 5% of the stories you see on Hacker Noon. So I keep my pulse on the edit. I run the editorial team. Now I'm running the product team. So I'm working more with software developers and wireframing, and then larger deals and larger sponsors and also I like, sometimes it's just like, if I like the technology, I want to jump on the sponsor meeting because I want to meet them. So that hopefully helps create like some of our customers and the people you see atop of that yellow, the yellow banner atop the site. Hopefully they're companies you would respect and like that I would respect. So that's like that's where I want to be. Yeah, That's my job, I guess.
Definitely, yeah. I used to sell advertising at Yelp, so I completely get it. So your strategy is inbound with segmentation, personalization, and then some relationship building as well with the brands themselves.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Closers, I hope you enjoyed learning more about David and his journey to becoming a wildly successful entrepreneur. He isn't stopping there. He's actually going to come back for more because on our next episode, maybe next episode, he's going to show us how he now generates $500,000 for Hacker Noon. What a journey. So you guys already know, I believe that this is a journey that you guys can go on. I make these videos because I look up to these entrepreneurs and I'm also trying to figure out how to build a business myself. Sometimes it makes me wonder, why can't some folks start a business while others are just starting businesses left and right? So something I think about a lot, actually. Maybe it's because you're too busy. But then if you're on social media, it means you have some time. Come on. or maybe you're just not around the right circle of friends, right? Someone once told me that if your inner circle does not inspire you, then you're in a prison. So something to think about. I really hope that these videos and, every week I'm live streaming, that they kind of hits a spot, that they inspire you somehow, because I really want to be a part of your circle, even if it's just through social media. I really hope that we can connect. You can connect with me on social media or even in person. You know where I live, Las Vegas. What's up? What's up? Let's build this strong community of entrepreneurs together. That's my passion. That is what I do for free as a hobby. No, I don't get paid with the ClosedWon Sales Show. I do this for fun. Let's try to inspire each other, teach each other, because I'm ready to learn. I'm always learning. So teach me something and comment on my videos. I know that you guys are watching it, but probably not commenting. Maybe you're shy. I don't know. Maybe the content's not good. Tell me, give me feedback so I can improve, right? If you like our content and if you enjoy our shows, don't forget to smash subscribe on YouTube, not Facebook. And thank you so much for watching. Your time is valuable to me. I appreciate you guys very much. So until next time, keep on closing. Peace. Becoming a successful entrepreneur isn't easy, but it's not impossible. Subscribe to my channel today, and together, let's figure out how to grow.
Bring that ass back like a boom, boom, boom.